the end of the lesson, I will just go through the question answers. Okay. Let's now begin with the lesson. All right. With the class, regular class. And then towards the end, I will go through the questions so that you can correct whether you've done it right. Okay. So we had last left at this. But before I get into this, oh, I have to start sharing. Okay. Tell me, who remembers what is a pacemaker?
Can I say it, miss?
Yes, please, Anand.
Is it like the, something like a nerve that sends signal and controls the rate of the heart? Uh,
The patch of tissue.
it's a group of cells that control the rate of the heart and
Tissue
by
is the
sending
right word.
signals. Yeah.
Tissue is the right word. Yeah, which gets a signal from where?
Brain.
Yeah, and then passes the electrical signal through through the rest of the heart for it to beat. That's what the pacemaker does, right? So, so this signal we keep saying, we keep talking about this signal. The brain gives the signal to the pacemaker. But who gives the signal to the brain? How does the brain know that, oh, this individual now, my individual is working very hard or is running very fast, so he or she is going to need a lot of oxygen? How does it know?
Nerve cells.
Okay, but there should be something now which will be telling it that this is the time the heart should start beating faster, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what is that thing?
Does it have anything to do
Um,
with pressure?
Miss, is the adrenaline like adrenaline?
adrenaline is the hormone which makes the heart beat faster. Yes, but I'm talking about the brain, about the brain. How does the brain know that the body requires to get maximum amount of oxygen? Now, this is what happens when you are, say, running in the football pitch, or you're exercising vigorously. Have you felt ever? We all have felt that the muscle starts, there's a cramp, there's a cramping, and then you start feeling very tired. The muscle feels very tired and feel like stopping, isn't it? That happens because of deposition of something called lactic acid. Okay, now why there is lactic acid? Because your muscle is working over time, it's taking up all the oxygen very fast, and the heart is not pumping fast enough for the oxygen to go to the muscle immediately, as fast as it should, as fast as the muscle requirement. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you're working hard and you're making the muscles work hard. So muscle is using up oxygen faster than it is getting supplied. In that case, there is a time when the tissue does not have enough oxygen. Okay. And then what happens if there is no oxygen? Our system has an innate mechanism, all the cells have an innate mechanism of switching the respiratory mode. In other words, the respiration which requires oxygen is called, do you know? What is that kind of respiration called? The respiration which
Aerobic
Aerobic.
respiration.
aerobic respiration. So when there is no oxygen, it switches to anaerobic respiration. In other words, it does not require oxygen. It just converts glucose straight to some form of energy. But in doing so, it also produces lactic acid. Okay, lactic acid. Remember this acid. Now, what is happening because of this anaerobic respiration? The lactic acid in the system increases, and because of that, increase in the lactic acid reduces the pH of the blood. Okay. So now, what is the pH, regular pH of the blood? Normally
6.
7. Mostly it is 7. That means it is neutral. Okay. Now, if you have a build-up of lactic acid, it will reduce the pH. That means what? The blood is becoming
Acidic.
acidic. And this is the signal to the brain. The brain gets the signal because of the blood's low pH. And when there is low pH of blood, the brain signals the pacemaker to start beating fast, to help the heart to start beating faster. Do you understand? And because of this, the heart starts beating faster. So faster the heartbeat, faster is the oxygen requirement of oxygen is more, and therefore you start breathing faster. So the breathing rate goes high, the heartbeat goes high when there is exercise or a lot of muscle work. So now let's go to the questions and see how much you understand. Muscle cells use up more energy or released in respiration during exercise, so they need to respire at a faster rate, right? So what is happening to the energy, which is the product of respiration in the muscle? The muscle is using that energy to help you run faster or to produce power in your shot, or to create a lot of strength in your arms. So all of that is caused due to respiration, which releases energy, and the muscle uses up that energy. Now, the breathing rate increases to take in more oxygen and to get rid of the carbon dioxide produced by respiration. Now, the heart pumps faster to circulate this oxygenated blood to muscle tissues, right? And the heart rate and breathing rate of fit people return to normal faster after exercise than those of less fit people. Less lactic acid from anaerobic respiration builds up in the muscles of fitter people. So that's why fitter people have more stamina, in other words. They have more lung power, like we say, or they have more stamina. What is stamina? That they take longer to, you know, get tired, or even if they get tired, it's faster for them to bring back the breathing rate to normal. Exercise recovery. A person's physical fitness affects how quickly their pulse or a heart rate and breathing rate recover after exercise. Okay. Now, for testing the recovery, what you have to do is you record someone's pulse beats per minute and breathing rate, that is breaths per minute, while they're sitting down. Okay. Then measure their pulse and breathing rate again straight after they have done 4 minutes of intense exercise. And then after 2 minutes of exercising, so they stop exercising, and then after 2 minutes, measure the pulse and the breathing rates and see, have the pulse and breathing rates return to normal. So measure again 2 minutes later, have their pulse and breathing rates return to normal. Check that. Okay. Now, so by looking at this, can you tell me what are the steps? So drag the steps into the correct order describing how we test recovery after exercise. So after exercise, how will we test the recovery of the person? First is
Let the fourth one be the first one.
are you sure?
no,
Um,
fifth is the first one.
Which one, Naro?
Fifth.
Fifth. Okay, that's all right. Measure someone's pulse, heartbeat, and breathing rate. That is breaths per minute. Yeah, that is one. Then Adan, measure their pulse and breathing rate. Wait. What did he say? Have the person do 4 minutes of intense exercise.
That's number 2.
yeah, I think that's number 2.
Okay, then
Number 5 is number 3.
Measure the person
No, I
breathing.
think number 3 is number 3.
Look at how the person
No, no,
has
no.
changed.
That's last. That's
Oh, no,
last.
that's the last.
That's
Yeah.
the last
Oh
one.
Let's
yeah,
just drag
yeah.
number 3 to number 5. Drag number 3 to number 5.
Yeah, drag number 5 to number 3.
What about number 4?
4 should be number 3.
Measure yeah, 4 is third.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
fourth
yeah,
one
yeah.
is the third one.
Yeah. Then
Yeah, Miss, can you just drag number 4 to 5? Like, just immediately. Wait. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
All right.
Miss, I
Yeah.
think I don't know, but I just feel like the fourth one should be the third one, but I don't know.
Okay,
Measure
let's
so
see.
that
What did we do? We measure someone's pulse,
Mhm.
heartbeats per minute, and breathing rate, breaths per minute. Then we have the person do 4 minutes of intense exercise. Then we measure the person's pulse and breathing rate immediately after the intense exercise. And then we measure their pulse and breathing rate 2 minutes after stopping exercise. And then look at how their pulse and breathing rates have changed. Have they returned to normal yet?
Mhm.
Is that a correct order?
I
According-
think so.
actually.
Yeah, it looks like. What have you written? You keep writing. I have to go. Okay, fifth is first, Daniela. Right. That reminds me that I have to take your registration. Okay, let's check. Yeah, you're right. Okay. So testing, exercise, recovery. Now look at this. This is the ECG thing that we have been doing or talking about. 1 second. In your book, I'm going back to your book. I just wanted to know whether they have ECG thing. Okay. Right. So I have to do this, but before that, let, you know this graph is on 9.10 on page 112. You should know how to read that ECG, and we will go through it step by step. But before that, let's do this. Heart rate and breathing rate both increase during exercise, so that blood can be oxygenated and carbon dioxide can be gotten rid of, and so that this blood can reach respiring muscles quickly. We know all of this, right? Recovery, the more physically fit someone is, the faster their breathing and heart rates return to normal after exercise. How fit do you think this person is? I don't know. Nothing is coming here yet. Okay. Right. We've done this before, haven't we? Ways to monitor heart rate.
ECG.
Electrocardiography.
Electrocardiogram, right?
Stethoscope.
Stethoscope,
Yeah, and pulse rate.
right? And pulse rate. Right. Okay. So which of these happens when we exercise? This is a wrong answer. You have to make it right.
is it the first one is to the left, and
Okay.
the second one is to the right?
Right. And that's it. Okay. Which of the following device used to monitor heart rate? We've done this before, I feel. Or it's the other class, I don't remember. Okay. Which of the following is a device used to monitor heart rate? Come on, you can.
Stethoscope.
Yeah. Stethoscope. Okay. The effects of exercise. Which acid builds up?
Lactic.
Breathing rate,
Increases.
and
Heart.
heart rate increases, right? Okay. So this is good. We can go, that's 71 because I was skipping everything, so that's fine. Okay, so now we will go to the presentation again, and this thing does not talk about ECG and how it can be monitored or how it is read. Okay, so I don't know why this is coming. Okay, so I'll go through the ECG bit, how to read it. Do I have it here? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So ECG is attached, or electrodes are attached to an ECG machine. We've seen all of that before. Pacemaker cells, which is a patch of tissue in the right atrium, sets the pace for beating of the heart, right? So the impulses from, so look at this thing. Go on to your book, page 112. Okay, and then take out that picture, figure 9.10. Are you there, all of you? This one,
Yes.
this picture, right? Okay. So, I have to remove this. So this bump over here, you see that is called P. What is this bump? This shows that there is a contraction in the atria, and therefore there is an electrical activity. What is that electrical activity? It is the impulse from sinoatrial node, SAN. What is sinoatrial node? That is the pacemaker. So impulse from the pacemaker causes a contraction in the atria. And when that impulse comes, there's a little bump over here, which is called P. Do you understand? Okay. And this big spike over here is the R. What is this R? It is impulse cause contractions in the ventricle. So this is a big spike over here. So because of this, you will have you'll have the ventricle contract, and because of this big impulse, you get a spike, which is called R. Okay, and then a normal ECG point. Okay, the book does not talk about the different points and what do they mean. Okay, in A levels, every point is defined. As of now, for you, every time there is a spike, you remember that there is a ventricle contraction here. This is where, this is the R, this is where ventricles contract to push the blood to the rest of the body. Is that clear?
Miss, I have one question. Like, how do you what do you use to basically X-ray? Do you use echo to basically X-ray heart?
No. X-ray is just that. X-ray. It is it's a ray of light. It is not part of the visible light spectrum. It is another light which you can't see, but which can pass through your body to the internals of the body. So normally the visible light gets blocked by your body, and so you get an image, right? X-ray has a property of going through the body and then whatever is inside the body that blocks that light, and therefore you will have an image. So X-ray image will look like this, like that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Have you seen an X-ray?
Mm,
Yeah.
Miss Day,
Mm. Yes. Yes. Who was that? Dustin.
It was Dustin.
Oh.
it's Dustin. Could I ask you a question about the exams?
Yeah. Please.
I heard for different teachers, it's gonna work in different ways. How is it gonna work for your exam?
What do you mean? The summer term
For
exam?
example, yes.
Yeah, I will take the whole 1 to 9 chapters.
Okay.
This
So is
is
it gonna
the
be out of
last
100?
chapter.
Oh, this is the
Yes.
last chapter. Okay, thank you
Yeah.
very much.
So this is the
Thank you
last
very
chapter,
much.
last bit of the last chapter. So once we finish this, then you are done for this year. Actually,
Miss.
I was planning to do 10 chapters this year, but you know, it didn't happen because of so many reasons. So we will do only 9 chapters, but it's okay. Every year I finish 9 chapters. Y'all were so good and we were going so well. Initially, I thought I would be able to finish 10 chapters. Didn't happen. It's okay. Next year I will have 11 chapters to do.
Miss, when we go back to school, will we revise?
What do you mean?
We
I
will
didn't
revise
understand.
before we go to school.
Yeah. When you come back to school, we will revise. And you will ask me questions if, on this chapter especially, because this is a difficult chapter. We've done,
Well, yeah.
although we've done chapter 6 and chapter 8 or 7, I think, the one with the digestive system, we did that, and this chapter, right? We did 3 chapters online, but
Mm-hmm.
this is the chapter which is the most complicated.
But Miss, you know that it isn't as effective as it is like in a real life class.
Of course.
Yeah.
Miss, how many weeks will we have to revise at school? Is it confirmed to be only 2?
I think you'll have only 2 weeks, yeah.
Dude, why don't you just start from now?
No, I know we can start from now, but like revising at school is always different to home because you know you have all the teachers there.
No, you have to keep studying so that revising in school becomes more effective. Don't be totally reliant on school review. Okay? Keep
Yeah.
studying
Okay, thank
and then bring up the questions which are difficult for you to understand, and then that we go through. Then that makes sense.
Okay,
Yeah?
Miss. Okay,
Okay.
I'll take the advice and start studying, Miss.
Okay, Adan feels that this is not very effective. Do all of you feel this way? In bio,
Yeah,
especially?
I certainly do.
same.
Who's
Miss,
that?
like
I
it isn't
certainly do.
effective. To be
Raro.
honest,
No, it's
no,
better.
it's Barres. I feel more confident. Like I feel better about it if I do all of this in a real life class rather than an online class, because you know.
I
It,
totally understand what you're saying. The
yeah.
face-to-face matters a lot. Half the time there is some kind of, glitches happening, or
And sometimes like
It's easier to write
especially
notes in real life.
especially topics like this need to be discussed in real life. Like it's really hard to discuss it
it
over
is hard
a
to
phone call. Yeah.
on this. It might be useful if you do one-on-one, as in one student talking to one teacher at one time. But 20 people and then doing this, it is complex. We are all struggling equally. So
Miss.
don't worry, I'll be very sympathetic towards this chapter when I take exams, okay? And I'll try to focus. This won't be marks heavy. In other words, I would try to put more marks in the other chapters that we've done. Yusuf,
Well, I
Okay.
mean, like some
Thank
people want online classes because like they don't want to. It's easier for the student, but they're like
Miss,
you
well,
getting
oh, sorry.
the
Sorry,
understanding is different. When you understand the lesson,
You
it's
should
easier.
stop me. I mean, I'm trying my best to make it
Oh, no,
very
Miss, you're doing
visual
very,
and
Miss, you're doing
explain.
great for like compared
Yeah,
to
Miss, you're
other
doing really
classes.
great, but it's just
You're
online
actually doing
classes
better
in
than me.
general.
You don't
Yeah.
have to say it because I'm right now in your face, okay? If you
No,
really don't
honest.
understand, you have to tell me that so that I change my strategy. It's going to help both of us. Do you understand? Kusha gets too distracted
Miss,
really easily. And why is
the
that,
problem,
Kusha?
Yeah, me too, Miss. Like
Yeah, well,
Miss, do you
distraction.
know what my problem is with
Why the
this whole?
distraction? It's only
because
me.
Miss, when you're in your bedroom, like like you're in like pajamas and you're on a computer,
You
Miss.
have to
It's very
create an environment. Do you see me like ever not ready or not in a teaching mode when I'm
But I
teaching you?
think you're better at
I
this than
look
us,
like
Miss.
I'm just out
Definitely.
of bed or something. No, right? I behave like I am in a proper professional. Yeah, I'm sitting here because I have to get this thing going because my computer is always in
Miss,
use. So I
Miss,
have
I think it's just like our brains, like for so many years, just getting into school clothes and going to school, we just get into this concentration mode instead of just sitting at home,
Miss,
relaxing, and
Yeah, and
just
also the
learning.
Miss,
electricity, Pusha is saying sometimes
can
goes off, the internet goes off. I totally understand that.
can I
But
say one thing?
you should, one second, before I forget, guys, this is the time to start getting back to your sleep patterns and get back to your original way of life because that is number one reason that is making you like this. You wake up at 11:30 if there is a 12 o'clock class. You wake up at 1 if it's a 2 o'clock class. Don't do that.
Miss,
Try to get back to your normal
Miss,
routine.
I want to know
Miss,
who
wait,
are
wait,
the people who
Miss,
are
will
the
Yeah.
school
different
get delayed?
people.
No,
Miss, let
wait.
me say something.
Yeah,
Okay, let Adam speak.
Okay,
Adan.
so I've Miss, if we, for example, if we do this whole thing at school,
Yeah,
we'll be more organized.
oh,
Like we know that we have school tomorrow, we'll be more organized. We'll sleep earlier.
I
oh,
But
am
when
not arguing that you cannot compare school to just online class.
exactly,
That
yeah,
is incomparable. I mean, that
yeah,
is
but
your
like,
workplace.
yeah,
You
but isn't that the
go.
same reason that it isn't effective?
That is why it is not effective. I totally understand that, but then
Yeah,
you have to do the best that you have. I mean, consider yourselves
Miss,
very lucky that you're not taking an exam, that you're not getting a predicted grade or something, that you still have another year to do this. And this year was almost towards the end when
mm-hmm.
you had this kind of situation.
Miss,
So
um,
let's continue
Miss.
with our lesson. I think we
Wait,
are
one more
digressing
question.
too
Will
much.
school? Is there any chance that school will get delayed at all? Like, for example, like the end of school will get delayed. Is there any chance of that? Is that still in the talks?
Huh? What? Say that again?
Is there still talks about school being delayed, like the end of school being delayed at any point?
I don't know. See, we've never had a meeting yet about that, so I will not. We have a meeting tonight, so I don't know what it is going to be like. We'll discuss about this. I'll put up this
Miss,
because I didn't. I think they might have to extend, but that is only my understanding, or I am assuming. But
I hope
if
they extend it.
the teachers have finished their year 10 curriculum and all the teachers have finished other curricula, then there is no point in delaying.
Miss,
Yeah.
there's one advantage in this online lessons. Like a lot of people, in classes they talk a lot, right?
Not in my classes. Never happened.
Everywhere. Let's just say.
Not in my, I don't allow
Okay.
it. Who
Okay.
is talking like this? Daro?
Yes.
How many people talked in my class, in that class? Anyways,
Miss, do
not
you
that
remember
much.
Shadyar talking and you were just giving him
One
warnings?
person I can
Yeah,
manage.
Miss,
Yeah.
this.
Daro, that's a
No.
disadvantage. By the way, ma mostana zanek
آخر
kata
سری
ti
كاليرا
kietka.
خلق بيدان ترين اللي ناو بولا اللي
Eh,
جهة اللي
who
بولا بي.
says we're all
Exact.
concentrated?
Wow, who's
Yeah.
this?
Who's this?
Who was that?
What the?
Okay, don't do that. Who's this? Anabad? I don't know. Anyways, let's go back to the lesson, people. Hello? What happened?
Hi.
Really, y'all are just quiet. Okay,
Mm.
so where was I? I was doing ECG and how to read ECG. So I told you this, like every spike means that there is a contraction in the ventricles, and this little bump over here means atria getting contracted. All right. So a heartbeat will be between these two spikes. Okay. There'll be one more spike here. Right? Right? So you have a beginning of a spike, beginning of the heartbeat. Remember what is the heartbeat cycle? Do you remember
You
heartbeat
mean the
cycle?
stages?
Yes, yes. The stages?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what happens first?
The heart pumps blood, goes through the body.
Mhm.
Um. Okay. So one
So
side is oxygenated. It will take the oxygen to the rest of the body, and then it will collect carbon dioxide, take it to the heart, and the heart will send it to the lungs, and the blood vessels
yeah.
will get.
1 second. Hold on.
Okay.
So you have the heart, and when the heart is relaxing, you have blood coming into the left and the right atria. That is the starting of your heartbeat, right? Remember this. Oh, people, you keep forgetting.
Yeah, Miss. I do remember.
Okay, so, oh, where did it go anyways? Step one, what is the step one?
Step one.
Yeah, of the heartbeat. You remember systole and diastole, right? So step one is what? The heartbeat begins with the heart muscle relaxed and valves closed. Blood flows into the right and the left atria. So that is the step one, right? Now, here in the step two, what will happen? The atria will contract and the blood is squeezed, which causes the valves leading to the ventricles to open. So when this atria contracts, you will get this bump here. This bump. Do you see that? Okay, let me go take you to a nice animation. I think you will understand that better. This is important for you to know because they might give you basic questions on reading of the ECG. Not very difficult questions, but basic. And then if you don't know which is what, even the basic questions will be difficult to answer. So I'm going to just show you this particular animation. Okay. So this is the cardiac conduction system, which means how the electric impulse helps the blood to helps the heart to contract. Okay. Now what you have to do is you have to be mindful. Okay. There will be a box which will come here, and as the heart is contracting, accordingly you will get the spikes here. So that will help you to understand the name of each spike and what it means, what it represents. Did you understand what I just said?
Yes.
Only one yes, I don't know about others. Okay, as we go through, I hope you will understand this. So the pumping action of the heart or the heartbeat is controlled by the heart's electrical system or the cardiac conduction system, which is in yellow over here. Okay, this is a group of specialized cells located on the wall of the heart, which send electrical impulses to the cardiac muscle, causing it to contract. Now, all of these details that I'm going to show you now is not for you. Okay, it is only I'm showing you so that you understand what those spikes mean on ECG. Okay, you don't have to know the details. This is only for A levels. If you come to A levels, we will go through in great details about this. Now, so the pink patch over here, this is the sinoatrial node. And what did I say? What is an SAN or sinoatrial node? Is actually the another name for
Face cells.
pacemaker, pacemaker, right?
Yes.
Now, so this node over here, contraction in the heart begins when electrical impulses are sent from the SA node, also known as natural pacemaker, which is located in the right atrium. So the contraction begins because of the signal from pacemaker, the natural pacemaker. Okay. Now look at this. Did you see this bump happen? See it again. When the right atrium is filled with blood, the electrical impulse spreads across the cells in the right and left atria. This causes the atria to contract, pushing the blood through the open valves into the ventricles. And when that happens, you get this bump called P. Do you understand? What is the how that P happened? That's
Yeah.
what I kept saying. Huh? No?
I said yes.
Okay. That's what happens when the atria contract. I kept saying that, right? You can see it now. See it again. Do you see? As this contracts, you get a P. Okay? Next. Next, what will happen? This will relax, right? The electric impulse arrives at the AV node, which is located between, okay, you don't have to know about SAN node and AV node. Just know from here, from the pacemaker, the impulse goes here in this patch, okay? Now, this impulse slows down slightly to allow the ventricles to fill with blood. On the ECG, this is marked by the line P and Q. So this is marked, this is the line between P and Q. Okay. What is this? This shows, this line between P and Q shows that the ventricle is now filled up with blood. If you want to, you can write it in that picture in your book. So P is when the atria contracts. P and Q, this line is when the ventricles are filled with blood. Okay. Then, now look at this. The impulse goes to different parts of the blood, of the heart, sorry, travels to the bundle of His, which is, this is called bundle of His, you don't have to know, which is located in the ventricles. The
Miss,
bundle of,
is R when the ventricle contracts.
huh?
R is when the ventricle contracts.
That's coming, wait. We're talking about only Q. What is this Q? Q means the electrical impulse have passed down the ventricles. That's what Q means. Okay. Did you hear, everybody? What does this Q mean here? This Q means that the electrical impulse travels through these nerves called bundle of His. You don't have to know all of this. Just say the electrical impulse now travels through the ventricles, and that is marked as Q. Okay. Now, when the electrical impulse passes through the ventricles, the ventricle walls contract, right? And both ventricles, okay. So this causes the ventricle to contract. What causes the ventricle to contract? This impulse which goes through the ventricles, that impulse causes the ventricles to contract, and when it contracts, you get this QRS, the entire spike. That R point is when the ventricles contract. Okay. On the ECG, the contraction of the left ventricle is represented by the R wave, and the contraction of the right ventricle is represented by S. So you just say the contraction of the ventricles are here, R, QRS. So the R is the point where the ventricle has contracted, okay? And when the ventricles contract, blood from the right ventricle is pumped through the pulmonary valves onto the lungs. Blood from the left ventricle is pumped to the aortic valves and onto the rest of the body. And then you have, again, once the impulse has passed, the ventricles relax and wait for the next electric impulse, and that is the T wave. So this, when the ventricles relax, you get a T wave, and the heart is waiting to get the blood, and then it contracts again, and the whole beat is repeated. So that's how you read the ECG. How will you read? P is the point where atria contract. R is the point where ventricles contract. And in between all of this, P and Q is when ventricles are filled with blood. Q is when this impulse passes onto the ventricles. R is when the ventricles contract. And then this T wave is when the ventricles relax.
Do we need to know that?
You just need to know what is P and R right now, okay? And
What? Can you repeat it again, please?
One second. Let me finish. This peak to this peak will be one heartbeat. Do you understand? How do you read the number of heartbeats? Suppose I give you a whole line of this ECG graph, and I tell you how many heartbeats are there. How will you read? You will take this as one heartbeat from this peak to this peak. Is that clear? Did you understand what I just said?
No.
Which part? Adan, you can't just say no after a 10-15 minutes explanation.
Yeah, I don't understand the P and R part, and I don't understand the one beat part.
Who understands the P part? Can somebody explain? What is P? I showed you the animation completely so many times. Pay attention. What is P?
Miss, so basically, try say it.
Yes, Ara.
P is basically where the atria contracts.
Where the atria contracts. Adan, can you see that? What did just happen? This atria contracted and you get a P spike here. And why is that spike? That's the electrical impulse which has increased because of this increase of electrical impulse, this atria is contracting. That is why we say in the P point, atria is contracting. Do you understand, Adan? And anybody else who have not understood? So what is ECG basically? It is a reading of electrical activity inside the heart. Didn't I tell you this before? And how is the electrical activity happening? By the pacemaker. Pacemaker signals the heart to beat. This tells you how it does that. So once the pacemaker has got a, the pacemaker itself creates the heart to beat. How? The pacemaker sends the impulse to the atria to contract. Okay, what is that impulse? It is an electrical activity. Because of enhanced electrical activity, the atria will contract, and that is when you get this bump P. I repeated this again. Did you understand?
Yeah.
Tell me if you haven't now. Anybody. You can text me, message me, whatever. Okay, I'm spending a lot of time on this. I want you to understand. I don't want to go to the next topic even after so much of, work on this.
Can you explain R and how we
Yeah,
know
I'll
it's
just
yeah.
I'll just go there with somebody wrote my electricity turned off. Oh God, Prusha. Okay. Anyways, it's all getting recorded so she can get it. Okay. Now over here, how does R happen? Now keep looking at this animation. Next. Now over here, this line, this between P and Q, it tells you that now the ventricles are filled with blood. Okay. So now atria will relax here, and this line between P and Q means this is filled with, ventricles are filled with blood. Q is the point. So on the ECG, this is marked, 1 second. The impulse slows down slightly to allow the ventricles to fill with blood. On the ECG, this is marked by the line P and Q wave. Okay. Now, the ECG, I'm sorry, the impulse now goes down to the ventricles. That is represented by Q. So it has slowed down. The impulse slows down. So from this spike, are you understanding? This is electrical activity spike. So you see the spikes going down, right? It goes up and then it comes down. When it comes down, that means it has come to the different parts of the ventricles. Once that happens, the electric impulse then moves. Okay, wait. I have to know this. Okay. Both the ventricles contract. Okay, they contract at different times. You don't have to know about that. This impulse, when it goes down the ventricles, they contract the ventricles. And when that happens, look at this. When the ventricles contract, you get the R spike. Did you see that, Adan? And
Yep.
others who have any doubt, look here again. So all this impulse has gone to different parts of the ventricle and it has slowed down. But then because of this impulse, the ventricles contract. When the ventricles contract, you get that big spike over there, R. Okay? Now, this means that atria contracts, fills ventricles with blood, ventricles contract, and they push the blood either to the lungs or to different parts of the body, right? And then they relax. The whole heart relaxes. And then again, P wave happens and R wave happens, right? So to read the ECG as number of heartbeats in 1 minute, say, you will read from this spike to this spike, which will tell you 1 heartbeat. That is how you should read the ECG. So when you see this question,
Miss, what do you mean from this part to that part?
this, what does R mean?
R, it's when the ventricles contract.
When the ventricles contract, that means that's when your heartbeat is getting complete. Or it is, that is the major part of the heartbeat when the ventricles contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
when it contracts until T, it then comes back to normal size or it relaxes,
Is
right?
that 1 beat?
This is 1 beat, but when you have to count, you will only count the spike. 1, 2, 3, like that.
Oh,
You
so
understand?
just the R's.
Yes.
Okay.
So from this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, like that. Okay?
Uh,
Did
Okay,
you
thanks,
understand,
miss.
Adan? Now?
Yeah.
Okay. Now look at this. There is a question in your end of the unit chapter question. I'm looking for that so that you totally understand what it means. Uh, or not end of the unit chapter question, which? Page 114. Look at page 114, everybody. Okay. Are you with me? Page 114, question 9.15. Page 114, question 9.15. Are you with me, all of you? This page,
Yeah, miss.
okay? 9.15. Look at the figure 9.10. That is the ECG figure. How many heartbeats are shown on the ECG trace? How many are shown?
Is it 3?
Yes.
Miss, is it 3?
Yes. Okay. Now, what is the next question? Work out how long one heartbeat lasts. Now, you need to measure between two identical points on two consecutive beats. For example, between two cue points, and then use the scale to convert this to seconds. Now look at this, okay? Take two points, like two heartbeats, okay? From the center to the last one, say. Do you see the measurement which is given? The one big square is 0.2 seconds.
Excuse me, miss, I have a question.
Wait, I'm asking you, do you see this measurement given to you as 0.2 second, one big square?
Yes, 0.2 seconds.
Yes. Now, calculate the distance between the center cube to the other cube. And the center, this should be R. I don't know in your book, is it R or Q? In my book, it made a mistake and said Q, but it should be R. So in your book, what is given? Is this R, the peak?
Yes, it's R.
So this R to the next R, count the squares and give me the time that you see. Can you count? So how many squares, full squares you see? One full 0.2 second square you can see between the two R's. I don't know whether I can show it here
Miss,
clearly.
is it 0.76?
That is right. Who is this?
Aran Atiban.
Dilan?
Aran.
Aran. Okay, yes, it is 0.75 because it's in between, exactly in between 0.2. But if you just say 0.7 seconds, you're right. The others, did you understand? Dustin, I'll come to you in a second. I'm just asking others. Did you understand how we got 0.7 as the answer? So how many full squares are there? 3 full squares. So 3 times 0.2 is how much? 0.6, right? 0.2, 0.2, 0.2. So that makes 0.6. And then half of the next square, that is 0.7. So you can just say 0.7 seconds. Is that clear?
Yes, thank you, miss.
Yeah.
Yeah, miss. So it's 3 squares and a half.
Yes. So
Okay.
you might be asked questions like that. You understand? from ECG topic? You should know how to read the ECG. Yes, Dustin, what was your question? Dustin. He's left? Or what? Okay. I'll go to the, my God, this
Yes,
took
I'm here.
forever.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, so did you have a question or you had a question on this similar thing?
Oh no! I just wanted to say thank. I understood. Thank you. That's all.
Oh.
My mic is glitching. I'm very sorry.
Okay, no problem. Right, so I think now you do not have any doubts about ECG. This is all there in the presentation. You can go back and watch it as many times as you want. But I'm hoping that now when you see this, you'll be able to understand better, right? Okay. Is there anyone who doesn't understand and thinks that, you know, when we go back, I will do it on my own? Don't do that. Ask me questions now. Okay. I'll go to the next topic, which is heart vessels, or I'm sorry, the blood vessels.
Miss, too much of information.
This is not too much. I just did one tiny topic. I will never finish otherwise. Stay put. Stay put. This is something that you already know. The blood vessel is going to be very easy. Don't worry. You already know half of it. What are the different blood vessels we've spoken about so far? Come on.
Arteries,
Yes.
Veins.
capillaries.
Veins, capillaries, right. Is Dilan not there even today?
This is me talking.
That's you?
Yeah.
You weren't there last time, no?
Yeah, no, I didn't get a notification from Google Classroom that you had a lesson, so I didn't know we had a lesson.
You must go on to Google Classroom. Don't wait for a web notification. Sometimes you might miss it even if they give you.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, you missed quite a bit. I hope you catch up. And if you don't, if you have any queries, like I told you, you can always ask question, you know, you can put up the question. I will answer it. Even if not that day, I will answer it in a day's time. Okay, so we have seen that there are three main types of blood vessels, which are arteries, veins, and capillaries, right? So arteries branch out into inner, so arteries are the thickest or the, the
Thinnest.
biggest vessel, okay? These arteries, is there a question? Hello? So arteries branch out to smaller vessels called arterioles, okay? And then arterioles branch out to even smaller vessels called, why are you taking pictures of this? It's of no use. Okay, the arterioles branch out into even smaller branches of arteries called capillaries, okay? Then the capillaries become venules, the venules become veins, and it looks like this. So you have the large artery branching out into arterioles, and the arterioles branch out like the capillaries. So you have arteries, arterioles, capillaries, and these capillaries which bring in the, you know, the capillaries which join with smaller veins are called venules, and these venules then come together and meet in the vein, which is the big superior or inferior vena cava vein. Okay, this you already knew, but it looks like this. Now, the artery has a very, very thick wall, and this is the inners of the arterial wall. The outer layer, the thick smooth muscle, then elastic white fibrous tissue, and the inner lining. Now, this is very important to understand why. Why do you think that the arteries have so much of muscles, elastic fibers of
Miss,
muscles
to withstand the
Because
blood pressure.
to withstand the high blood pressure? Who said that? Very good. Okay.
Dylan.
Okay. So if this is a rubber band. If this is a diameter of a say artery, okay, this is the diameter. So the artery looks like this. Inside the blood comes in. So whenever there is a heart pressure or whenever there is a contraction, remember the pulse? We said the pulse is the pressure wave that is created by contraction of the ventricles. Remember that? Why are you taking pictures of this? So the contraction of the ventricles creates a very high pressure. Whenever there is pressure, there's a wave of expansion that happens like that. Okay, so that's how you get your pulse, right? So this requires a lot of elasticity so that it can withstand such great pressure. Understand? Just like this elastic rubber band over here. Okay, and that is why the muscle, the walls of the artery is so thick. It has elastic white fibrous tissues, apart from the thick smooth muscle and inner lining of endothelium. Right. Okay. So, any doubts in that? What I just explained?
No, miss, thank you.
Okay. So the arteries, what is the main function of the artery? It carries blood away from the heart to different parts of the organs. Come on, don't be so quiet. You know about this. And what is the type of blood that they hold? Oxygenated or deoxygenated?
Oxygenated.
Oxygenated blood. And it is usually the bright red oxygenated blood. The arteries stretch as blood is forced through them and then return to their original shape. You feel this as a pulse. I already talked to you about this. I explained it with the help of a rubber band, what they are saying, right? That it stretches as blood is forced through them and then returns to their original shape. And this you feel as a pulse. And the blood in
Miss, it
arteries,
can also recoil.
yeah, because of the elasticity. It expands and then contracts. That means it expands and then it recoils like that, right? Expands and recoils. So, because of the elasticity of the wall of the arteries. Now, so that's the diagram that you will see normally of an artery. Do you see thick muscle and elastic fibers? The wall is really thick, right? And do you see the lumen? What is the lumen? Now, by now you should know when I say lumen. Lumen is the
Lumen, I don't know.
lumen is the hollowness of any tube, or the space inside any tube is called the lumen. Come on.
Okay,
How
okay.
many times I've told you this during our digestive system? All of that, esophagus lumen and the intestine lumen. Lumen means the xylem. Remember, xylem has hollow lumen. I have told you many times this word lumen. Remember this. Lumen is the hollowness,
Yeah, you have.
the hollowness of the tube. Okay. So the arteries have very small lumen. Okay. So if okay, this is a different picture altogether. We will look at this later. Okay. Now, the next is the veins. Look at this diagram of the vein, what is the number one thing that is different than the arteries?
A bigger lumen,
Very large lumen, right? What else?
thinner walls,
Yes, so it has thinner valves, very large lumen, and there is something called valves. Where did you see valves before? In this chapter?
In the heart.
I know, in the heart, that's right. You also have valves in the vein. Now, why do you think veins have valves? What is the function of valves?
to
And
protect the
prevent
It
backflow.
prevent
very good.
backflow.
To prevent the backflow of the blood. Now, why is that important in veins and why it is not there in arteries? Only in veins you have valves, and in
Because the
arteries
blood returns back to the heart.
Yeah,
the blood returns back to the heart.
wood. It's
with low
wood.
pressure, but there's high
Okay.
pressure arteries.
Who said that about low pressure or high pressure?
Aran Adiban.
Okay, great. So you're right, Aran, absolutely, because the arteries have thick walls to withstand the high pressure, and the flow of the blood is also fast in the arteries because of the high blood pressure. By the time it comes down to the veins, the pressure decreases and the flow also decreases. And because of that, what happens is, if this is like I told you before, if this is the vein and if the blood has to go up and there is no pressure, will the blood go up or will it flow? It will not flow, right? There is no pressure in the blood, very low pressure. It will go very slowly. So, how does it then go against the gravity towards the heart? The skeletal muscles, if these are the skeletal muscles in your legs, say, the movement of the skeletal muscles creates a pressure, okay, like that. It squeezes the blood to go up. And when it goes up, it requires a valve so that it doesn't come back when the pressure is gone. Do you understand? And that is why valves
Miss,
are present in the veins. Yes.
if the pressure is created due to our movement, then what happens when we're asleep or when we're not walking?
Very good. Suppose if you, that's a very, very good question, Adan. Have you ever been in a place for, say, 8 hours sitting, like traveling by flight or traveling by bus? If you
Yeah.
sit, what happens if you don't move, if you just sit? Have you noticed or anything, any change in anyone? Any
Salabia.
experience like that? You feel cramps or the foot of gets swollen up. That is why
That's no. Oh yeah.
in long flights, the air hostesses and all of the people over there in the flight department, they keep telling you you have to keep walking. You must walk in between so that the blood and the water and everything doesn't collect and it swells up. Then you can't wear your own shoes. Okay? So you have to be moving. While you're sleeping, you're not sleeping like a log, although there is an expression like that, but you don't sleep like a log. You keep moving while sleeping also. Isn't it?
Yeah,
Miss, what if you
true.
stay in the same place when you sleep?
You don't sleep in the same place either. So yeah, so that's what helps the blood keep moving. Clear?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is this? I don't understand what you've written, Dilan. Okay. So that's the reason of, okay, that's the reason for valves to prevent the backflow of blood because there is very low pressure. Now, okay, so the veins' primary function is to carry blood to your heart from your organs. what kind of blood it carries, oxygenated or deoxygenated?
Deoxygenated.
Deoxygenated. Does it
Deoxygenated.
have pulse? It won't show pulse because
But miss,
there's less
miss.
pressure. Yeah. And valves prevent backflow of blood. There is low pressure. Blood is squeezed back towards the heart by the action of skeletal muscles. Remember all these points in red. I have marked them so that you remember this while reading through this. I hope you go through my presentations. You will really do well if you go through them because they tell you which is important for you from your
Miss,
exam point of view. Yes.
the arteries take back oxygenated blood to the heart, right? Like from the lungs.
That is an artery. Think hard. Is an artery taking back the oxygenated blood to the heart?
Yeah, I'm confused about it.
So if it is a lung, from the lung, a blood vessel is taking
No, yeah,
uh,
from the lung to
the
the heart.
heart. Will it be an artery or a vein?
A vein.
Adan,
It would be a vein.
because it is taking from an organ to
lung.
the heart.
Yeah.
Therefore, it will be a vein, and that is the number one thing I have mentioned in my earlier lectures, that pulmonary vein is the only vein which carries.
Oxygenated blood.
Good. Thank you for bringing this up. Just as a review, remember all the veins carry deoxygenated blood except for the pulmonary vein, and all the arteries carry oxygenated blood except for the which one? Come on.
Miss, what was the question?
Is it pulmonary arteries?
Yeah.
Yes, it is
I
pulmonary.
guess. But since pulmonary vein, yeah. Okay.
Clear? So,
Yep.
a huge network of linking arteries and veins are formed, which are called capillaries, right? So that's a capillary network over there. And how does the capillary diagram made? It is like this, very, very small tube in diameter. It has a wall which is single cell thick, and it is a tiny vessel with a very narrow lumen. What does single cell thick mean? I have talked about this before also. Let me see who remembers. What does single cell thick mean? Remember when we were doing diffusion, I said for diffusion to happen, it's nice to have the
It
walls to be not
diffuses the
Am I-
blood faster to the parts.
not
Semi-permeable.
huh?
It should be semi-permeable for.
Yes, it should be diffusible so that so if you have a thick layer of tissue, would that help in diffusion, or a thin layer will have help in diffusion?
Thin.
Thin layer, and therefore the capillaries are the only vessels which are nearest to the cells in all tissues, right? And therefore, because they're nearest to the cells, what must happen very easily?
Diffusion
Or what?
of blood, oxygenated blood.
Diffusion of blood.
I don't know.
What do you mean
But-
oxygen?
Oh, wait. Is it
So
osmosis?
you have, okay, look at this. This is one capillary network, okay? This is around tissues here. Imagine visualize there are tissues around here, right?
Yeah.
So I am saying this capillary over here is very thin, as thin as a single cell layer wall. It helps in diffusion. So diffusion of what? Suppose this
The
was
blood.
lung. Huh?
The blood.
So you think blood is going from your capillaries to inside of the cells of other this thing? Blood is not going literally inside the cells. What is going
Oxygen.
inside the cells? Yes,
Oxygen.
gas, exchange of gases. Gases from the red blood cell. Now listen to me carefully. Red blood cell is the cell which carries oxygen, isn't it? Right? And the cell carries carbon dioxide because of respiration. And if I have my capillary here, then this cell will give out carbon dioxide, and my capillary with RBCs in it will give out oxygen inside the cell, isn't it? The
Yeah,
exchange
yeah,
of,
yeah.
yeah, exchange of gas will be easier because the cells, which is the RB cell, the red blood cells carrying oxygen, will give out oxygen and pick up carbon dioxide from the cells. Did we do this before? Come on. Yes or no?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why you need to have the cells, you need to have the wall of the capillary single cell, right? Thickness, single cell thickness. What does that really mean? Say single cell thickness. Suppose this is the wall and you fold it like this, right? So do you see a tube is being formed? And this wall is formed by one layer of cell. This is just one layer of cell. Do you understand what that means?
Yes.
Okay. So those are the three different vessels that we learned now, their properties, their functions, how they look, right? So look at this. Blood moves around the body in arteries, veins, and capillaries. Each blood vessel is adapted to its function. Click on each blood vessel. So if I click here on artery, it tells you what? It has thick walls. The artery sends blood to the rest of the body from heart, right? And blood is pumped out of the heart at high pressure. So the arteries have thick muscular elastic walls to withstand this. Now, if I click on this, the veins carry blood from the body towards the heart. Do you see the difference of arrow? This is from heart to the different parts of the body. This is from rest of the body to the heart. And these vessels have large lumen, and this allows them to carry a large amount of blood, but the valves within the vein prevent the backflow of the blood, which is at low pressure in the wrong way. Okay, now this is capillaries which carry blood to the body cells. The walls of the capillaries are very thin and permeable, allowing gas exchange, right? So I think that's the end of this particular topic. We've done, oh, not end. Okay, this is very important one, which is remaining. Uh, So we saw the double circulatory system in mammals. I'm not going to go through this. We've done this extensively. I hope you understand what double circulation is. Anybody who doesn't remember the double circulatory system? Hello?
Yes, Miss, we all understand.
Okay, so one transport system carries blood from heart to the lungs, and the other carries heart to the rest of the body. That is why it's called double circulatory, because the same blood is going through the heart twice. Okay, so it makes the circulatory system very efficient, because I told you before also, more areas of your body will receive oxygenated blood quickly, more quickly, as blood can be sent off to different parts of the body at high pressure. Now, when you look at this plan of main blood vessels in human body, very, very important diagram. Many questions are asked on the basis of this diagram. In the past papers, you will see this diagram in many past papers or similar looking diagram. Now, where is this diagram in your book? Page 115. Okay. Now, what I tell you, listen to this very carefully. Page 115, do you see this diagram? Yes?
Yes, yes, yes.
So bring that up. I'm going to explain it to you. When you look at it, what do you see? Can someone tell me? You see the heart, right?
Yeah.
And what does the blue part indicate?
The veins.
So blood is going from where to where?
It just transports the oxygen in the blood.
From where? Do you see the organs that is shown over here? You have the liver, you have stomach, you have kidneys, and you have lower body here. And this is upper body, but it should be on top here, which your book shows. Do you see the upper body or vena cava from head in your book? Okay. So this big vein is joined by these veins coming from the organs. You must remember this. And what is the red side doing, saying? The red side means it is transporting oxygenated
Blood to the
blood
rest of the body.
to the organs in the rest of the body. So now look at this. This is aorta, the main one. So they might ask you to label aorta. You can label it here or you can label it here or anywhere here. They're all, the big one which branches out is the aorta. So you will label it here. Okay. Now, when the aorta branches out and gives one artery, sends one artery to the liver, anything to do with liver is called hepatic artery or hepatic. Liver means, like I said, anything to do with lungs is called anything to
Pulmonary.
pulmonary. So anything to do with the liver is called hepatic. Okay. So this is the hepatic artery. This is the hepatic vein. They might ask you to label the hepatic artery or label the hepatic vein. So they will give you, this is the liver. So the branch which is going to the liver will be hepatic artery. Are you understanding? This is very straightforward. Is there any doubt here? Yes, please respond to me because I don't understand them.
No, miss, I'm good.
Yes or no? I mean, no, I don't understand, or yes, I understand.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. Similarly, you see another artery going to the, what is this? Kidney, right? Anything to do with kidney is called renal. Write it down. I hope you are writing or taking down some notes. Anything to do with lungs is pulmonary. Anything to do with liver is hepatic. Anything to do with kidneys is renal. Okay? So you see the renal artery here and you see the renal vein. Now, number one important labeling that you will they will ask you to do is hepatic portal vein. They will ask you to label the hepatic artery and the hepatic portal vein. What is the difference between the two? Hepatic artery is the artery which sends blood to the liver. Okay. Now, hepatic portal vein is the vein which carries the blood from the intestines to the liver. Now, when you learn about detoxification, you will learn this better. But you must understand this. Now, in your book, it's God given to you, which is very surprising, although this is the most important part of this diagram. So this artery is the hepatic artery, and write it down. This vein which go, I'm sorry, no, wait. This is the hepatic artery, the one which is going to the liver. This is the liver, right? It's labeled as liver. So this artery is the hepatic artery. Now, this is the artery which goes to the intestine or the stomach. From the stomach, the blood which contains all the digested food, and along with digested food, you have proteins and all other things that need to be detoxified. That blood, the blood from the stomach requires to be detoxed, and that goes in the liver. Okay, how does it go to the liver? Of course, there's a vessel which takes the blood from the stomach or intestine, from the intestine to the liver, and that is called the hepatic portal vein. Why is it a vein? Because the blood vessel is from the organ to another organ, so it is a vein. Did you understand? Did you label it? Please label this hepatic portal vein. Everybody, did you label that?
Miss, can you go back to the PowerPoint?
Yeah. So do you see this hepatic portal vein?
Miss,
It is going from the stomach to the liver. Yes.
Miss, is this the final part of the chapter?
No, it's not the final part at all.
Oh no.
Because I think
Yeah.
the lesson's done for today.
I know, I will have to take another lesson. I was about to tell you this. We will never finish this at this rate. First of all, I'm going very slow.
Wait, are you taking another lesson today?
No, not today.
Today
Okay,
we
good.
can't.
Okay, thanks.
No, I'm not crazy. I know how much is your focus level. And even I'm tired. I've been talking 2 hours
Oh
non-stop.
my god.
I will take it on Thursday. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Thursday, what do you have? You don't have, no, you have, I think, chemistry.
Miss, take it at the same lesson you would take on Sunday, same times. That's the time. We have the same
No,
times we
no,
have
no,
on Sunday.
no, your timing will clash then.
No, it won't, Miss. Check. 3 and 4 were 3.
Wait, let me check your time. So Thursday, 10A has math till 2:45, my dear. It starts at 12 o'clock.
So we have until 3. We have
So
3
I'll
and
take
4.
3 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Miss.
I'll take 3 to 5 like this. Okay.
Miss, can we go?
Can we go?